Hello, welcome back. The next instalment on the Abrams M1070 tank, the Tusk2 version. It's not easy to say that. And this deals with the turret. It's, as you can see, it's all up finished, and most of it pretty easy to do. We'll go through the instructions. First thing you need to do when you start the turret is you need to drill a series of holes in it. As I mentioned in the last video that I did, it's even marked on them. You can just about read where it says M1A2 on it, so you're not going to get the holes mixed up. In the turret first, it's B1. There's a lot of these pages that don't really have a lot of instructions on them. Next, it's the hinge mounting, the mounting for the gun, for the barrel. A couple of poly, I don't know what you call them now, poly caps that go inside the hinges so that it will rotate. I put mine in a fixed position because that's what I wanted to do. You can do whatever you like with yours. Then it goes on to building the hull up, and there's nothing difficult there at all. Nothing at all I can see. I put all the bits on, as you can see, everything's gone on there. That's on that one. All the aerials, the mast, and all the other bits and pieces. Pretty much just sticking stuff on. Then again on the gun barrel, it says at the bottom here to put this little piece of photo etch on with a piece of sellotape, piece of tape, sticky tape, and that enables the barrel to go up and down. The thing is, of course, when you put it on with a bit of sticky tape, it just sticks up and it looks silly. But I'd chosen to fix my barrel anyway, so I've super glued it down and then put the rest of the wiring in on top of it where it should go. It's not actually the wiring, it's the covers for the wiring. So that's all of that there, and again goes together really quite easily. You need to drill a couple of holes in this piece here, and that's to carry those covers, wiring protectors there. Then it's on to the side pieces, and they're basically storage boxes. Again, dead simple, go together really easily, and you've got to drill a couple of holes in them for the armour on the sides, but really quite easy. You then get this cupola here, this hatch here, and it goes together really easy. There's nothing difficult about it at all, but you need to put the glass in first. Can you see that? So again, I think I mentioned this on the last video. What I do is I paint the back of the piece of glass first, then push it into place, and then I'll mask that out, use a bit of Maskol to cover it up when I come to paint it. That hatch does open and close, but personally I think it'll probably stay open. You can probably see the glass better with it in that closed position, can you? No, there's a lot of stuff in the way there, isn't there? Maybe a little bit. So I intend to have that open. I've got to open it to paint it anyway, so I want to paint the inside of it. So away we go with that. That's all of that done. Again, simple stuff. It's show me do it. It's simple as that. The glass for this piece here is this one here, and fairly simple to put to sort out. Painted the back with transparent red, then painted the frame on the other side, so on the front side of it, with a matte black, and then when it's dried, any bits that you get on the glass, on the perspex there, with a cocktail stick, very carefully, use a cocktail stick, not a knife, very carefully just scrape any little bits that have overspilled onto it off there. And the same with the two, there are two little round holes and one little square one. I've not done the square one yet, but with a cocktail stick, very carefully rub the paint off. It's easy enough to do. So that's that. That won't be going on until afterwards. and that goes into this piece here. The reason it's staying until later is there's another cover that goes over the top of that with 2 shutter doors on it. So it would make it impossible to paint the inside if I put that on first. So that goes on. Then once it's on, and I'm sure that's a gunner's port hatch. It must be gunner's view of the barrel. And the cover will go on after it's all been painted. What else are there? A couple of storage boxes on the sides. As I say, it's all very easy stuff to put together. It says in the instructions to paint the whole of that glass transparent red, but when you look at the real tank, that's not how it is. A couple of side rails again, and a couple of covers for the wiring and the cabling that goes across the top. There's a bracket here to hold the tow cable on the side. It goes on both sides, but on this one you don't have the tow cable. The tow cable doesn't exist on it. I don't know why. I don't know what they do if they need to tow it. I'm guessing they expect the tow vehicle to bring all the cables. Again, all of this stuff goes together really very easily. Then the smoke grenade launchers and the 2 different types. Choose the one whichever build you're making. Again, it goes together really easily. On this version, the one on the Tusk2, it's very fragile. All this is very, very fragile. It really is. So you need to be careful when you're handling it. It's got an awful lot of machine guns on it. I've looked at many photographs of the real ones, and the real ones don't have as many machine guns on them as this. I'll deal with this first, CCTV. And again, easy enough, goes together really easily. And it's just a little pod on the top there. It rotates round, which it would have to when you think about it. A little piece of glass in the middle there. Paint the frame in exactly the same way as I did with the other one. Glued it in, and before I spray paint the whole thing, that'll be masked out with some maskol, which is basically liquid silicone, isn't it? Then what we got then? Yep, one of the machine guns. This is the one that goes on the barrel. Really easy to go together, and sits on the end of the barrel there. Now there's a spotlight goes with it, and I can't help myself. If I see the light, I just have to put a bulb in it. So I don't think you're going to be able to see it. You can't see the bulb in there. There is a little bulb in there, a little LED bulb, and the wiring comes out the back, goes down and into the turret, comes out inside the turret. That will then in turn go through the turret and in. I can't get that thin, I can't even get hold of them. The wire will then go through into the hull and onto the battery pack. I've mentioned what kind of lights they are. The 0402 LEDs. I got them from Temu, really quite cheap. If you buy them here, stupid prices, but from Temu they're simply quite cheap. So that's the machine gun, the first one. Then that's the cover I'm talking about that goes over the gunner's window there. And if you put that on with its 2 shield doors, you won't be able to paint the inside. I intend to leave them open, so you need to be able to paint inside, otherwise it will look odd. It tells you how to put everything on and just plunk it on the sides basically. I've written Lost on there. This looks quite big here. The reality of it is really very small, and it vanished. I have no idea what it pinged off the pair of cutters, never to be seen again. I will make one at some point, and it goes, there we go, onto there. Goes on there, and it's a shield so that when that TV screen is pulled round, it protects the glass there. Yep. So that's that. As I say, on some of these pages, there's very little, on the pages of instructions, there's very little on them. Oh, wrong way. Where's that going? There's very little on them. That was interesting. Knife rolled away and took the machine gun with it. So that's that page. What have we got now? The baskets at the back, they really were, there were some little bits and pieces on them that's a bit difficult. Mainly because the photo etch is so thin. I've mentioned this before with this, it's unbelievably thin. And well, you can see it in there, there's hardly anything of it. Oh, going the wrong way. Yeah, so putting the baskets together is quite easy. For some reason that back one isn't straight, it's not level. I don't know if you can see that there, can you? Yeah, it tips up a little bit up in this direction, but that's the only way to fix it on. So apart from putting the photo etch on, the first basket I built the frame as it suggests in the instructions, built all the frame, and then tried to put the photo etch down inside it. Absolute nightmare. What I would suggest if you're going to do this is build those two, then put the photo etch in, and then put the back pieces in for last. And the same with the basket at the back. Build the base and the front, and then put the photo etch in, then put the rest on. Otherwise it becomes a nightmare. Air conditioning unit, again, goes together really quite simply, and that just sits on the back of the toolbox, the basket there. Nothing there. As I say, there's very little on a lot of these instructions. It's quite a big book with not an awful lot in it. Then you get to the commander's cupola, and you need to read the instructions very carefully, and then you need to be quite imaginative when you're putting the thing together. It does go together. These windows are an absolute nightmare to get in. They go right the way through. Why on earth they go right the way through on a model kit, I don't know. In real life, of course they would. They're prisms, and you would be able to see through them like, as a periscope type view. But on a kit, you don't need to do that. But what it means is that, first of all, you need to push them in from the top, and then they come out through the bottom. It's so difficult to get them in that, just bear with me a second, that I actually broke the ring. You can just about see the break in it. I don't know if that'll focus on there, to be honest. Just about see the break in it there. But they were forced in so hard that you break the ring. What I did with them again was I painted them on the back of them, and then put some sellotape on them because it was obviously going to scratch the paint back off again, pushing them in. Pushed them in, which is no mean feat, I promise you. And then detailed them up, put the black paint on them. This piece is a real nightmare. You might be able to see there's all sorts of glue all over this because it's been in about 3 different positions, and to get it right so that it's right on the edge here, loops right from the outside, you might have to position it a couple of times. The couple of very fragile pieces, one of the levers has broken off here, and the mounting for the machine gun there. The rest of it's really quite simple. There's a hatch that goes into it, which has a hinge on it that goes on the side, and that's simply, I will be painting that separately, but it simply drops in the middle there. Whoops. He said simply, you can't even get hold of it. Goes in there. Yep. So that's that. It's the glass on there that's the really awkward stuff. It then has clear glass, bulletproof glass I guess, goes all the way round and on here. These two pieces here, in real life, they're very close together. In fact, I would imagine that they're actually welded together. According to the instructions, they touch each other. However, when you put them in, no matter where you wiggle them around to, there's a gap between them which doesn't look right at all. I've put a little piece of 1mm rod in there and glued that on, filed the top of it so it looks right. From the outside you don't see it at all, and from the inside it looks quite natural really, it doesn't look unusual. Why it's like that I don't know, it's one of those things. It then goes on to tell you how to assemble the machine gun, which is this one, and that simply sits on a mounting there. Yep, and sits there like that, no problem at all with that. Again, easy enough to put together. There is, however, a spotlight that you put together, and it hooks on to the side here. So this is a spotlight. Oh, where am I? There. And as you can see, I've wired it up. I don't think you'll be able to see the inside of that there. There is a little tiny LED in there, as I've mentioned before, an 0402. And what I intend to do is, I've already prepared a couple of holes, one little hole there and one in between there, so that what I'll do is I'll glue that wire together, the two wires together, and then coil them so that it look like a telly lead, paint them black, and then when the glass goes in that, put it in position on the side of the cupola, and that should look quite nice. And of course when you turn it on, it'll turn on. So that's that. This piece I haven't put in yet, that's why I've marked it with the amber, because it goes right in front of this one and it would just make life difficult putting the clear glass in. All this around here has clear glass all the way around it, and as does the front of the machine gun, the shield on the front of the machine gun. You've then got yet another machine gun, which is a loader's machine gun assembly, which is this one. Again, really quite simple to put together. There's nothing difficult with it at all. It just all fits together really nicely. And that one goes in, I can't get at it, in there. Sits in there like that. Can you see that without my hands in the way? Sits in there like that quite neatly. That is that. It also shows how to put there's a bit of photo etch in that one there, and then it's got glass on the other side. Oh, sorry. Bit of photo etch in it there, and then you'll put a piece of clear glass in the inside. So I'll spray paint it, then put the glass in. It then tells you how to put the armour together, which I haven't yet done. I've left it all on the sprues, cut the sprues to a manageable size, left it all on the sprues. What I do is, whatever I can do, is leave the sprue number on when I do it that way, so they can be painted on the sprue and then cut off and the paintwork touched up wherever it's necessary. What else we got here now? That's the section we're not doing. That's a Tusk1. Simply putting the armour on the side. As I say, that's a whole page of the instructions, and it's got nothing on it at all. Putting a turret into the hull, and then some extra pieces that need to go on there, and that is about it. There's, as I say, whole pages with not really much on them at all. Could have gone on anywhere, and that is that. Finished. What it needs to do now is I need to get it all painted up and then assembled, and when I've got it all painted up and assembled, I'll do another video which will be the final reveal and let you know how I've gone on with it. What I intend to do with this one is I'm going to put it, I built some time ago, in fact it was the first kit that I built, was an M1070 transporter, and I intend to put this on the back of that 1070. I did originally have a Challenger 2 on it, but it didn't look right. It just didn't look right at all. So the Challenger 2 is now on the back of a Scammell transporter, and this one will go on the back of the M1070. I'm going to paint this in desert sand, so it will be a bit of a contrast with the truck. I'm then going to make it's not so much a diorama as a base for the 1070, and I'll do the whole thing then as a final reveal. Any questions, any comments, anything at all, please leave them in the spaces below, the boxes below, and it would be great if you could like and subscribe. Thanks very much for watching. Ta-ra!